Hello, my name is Roger 𝗘𝗺. I'm the CTO of Aurabeat Technology Limited. I have more than 15 years of experience in studying the aerodynamics of airborne viruses, air disinfection, and air filtration. In this presentation, I will explain can air filter block the COVID-19 virus and virus aerosol. I will also clarify some common misunderstanding on air filtration. First, I'm gonna quickly go through the definition of aerosol. Aerosols are the fine solid particles or liquid droplets suspended in air. So, smoke particles can be also defined as aerosols. But in the light of the pandemic, we are mostly concerned about the aerosol that may contain the COVID-19 virus, such as the aerosols generated during coughing, sneezing, or even talking. So, about the social distance, some countries state that if we keep a 1 or 2 meter distance from each other, we'll be safe. If that's the case, you see, the initial momentum of the coughing or sneezing can push the expiratory aerosols to a few meter distance. However, the fine expiratory aerosol can remain suspended in air and travel with the air current to very long distance. So how far can aerosol travel? Remember the Fukushima nuclear disaster in 2011? The radioactive dust generated by the incidents go into the atmosphere, and after 10 days, it travels all the way across the Pacific Ocean and reach the east coast of US. This is how far aerosol can travel if it enters the right airflow current. But do not worry, COVID-19 virus can only survive in aerosols for a few hours. So you don't have to worry that someone sneezing in Asia will get you infected in US. But definitely, keeping a 3 feet or 6 feet distance isn't enough. We need to take other measures. And other important note is that the fine virus aerosol can follow airflow current and enter every corner the air can reach. Therefore, it is important to have effective air disinfection. Air filter is a very effective measure to remove aerosol from air, including virus aerosol. Some people have a common misunderstanding that filter cannot block the virus because they are too small. For COVID-19 virus, the size is about 0.1 micrometer in diameter. Even some experts may have this misunderstanding. This is a news article interviewing an assistant professor of microbiology who claimed that HEPA filter itself can only block 0.3 micrometer particles, and since the virus itself is roughly 0.1 micrometer in diameter, therefore HEPA filter cannot block or remove COVID-19 virus from air. Many people imagine the process of air filtration as a fishing net to catch fishes. If a fish is large, it cannot escape the opening of the fishing net, while small fishes can just swim through the opening of the fishing net. However, this is not true for air filtration. The air filtration mechanism is much more complicated. It actually consists of 4 mechanisms, and each of them is effective for certain particle sizes. For example, the Brownian motion or the diffusion mechanism is very effective on small particle sizes. So when the four mechanisms combined together, there is only a certain size range that is most troublesome to be captured by air filter, which is about 0.3 micrometer in diameter. So COVID-19 virus has smaller diameter than this size range, so it is actually more easily to be captured by air filter. This research study shows the filtration efficiency of air filter with different grades. We can see that all of them can actually filter small size particle just with different effectiveness. Here we have 𝗘𝗺12 and 𝗘𝗺14 air filter, which is medium grade air filter commonly used in building ventilation system. Here we have 𝗘𝗺16 air filter, which is equivalent to the HEPA 11 grade. We can see that it can filter out 0.1 micrometer aerosols very effectively. The reasons why many air filter testing standards stop at 0.3 micrometer is not because the air filter cannot filter out anything smaller than 0.3 micrometer, but because 0.3 micrometer is really a critical value to evaluate filter efficiency. Now we are looking at some scanning electron microscope image of aerosol captured on the fibers of air filters. We can see that the aerosols captured by those fibers are much smaller than the openings created by those fibers. The mechanism here is that when the microscopic aerosol contacting the surface of the fiber, it has a molecular level adhesive force, which is very strong in terms of hundred thousands to billions times of gravity. So such strong binding force will hold the particles onto the air filter fibers, and therefore they are removed from the airstream. Another common misunderstanding is that if an air purifier has a higher grade air filter, it is a better air purifier. As I just explained, even a medium grade air filter can remove small particles, including the COVID-19 virus and virus aerosol, although with different efficiency compared to high-grade filter. Now, if we look at the overall efficiency of the high-grade air filter, H12 is a HEPA-like filter that can remove 99.5% of the particles. If we look at the H13 grade HEPA filter, so-called true HEPA filter, it actually only has less than 0.5% filtration efficiency improvement over the H12 grade. And then if we look at the H14 grade, it actually only has less than 0.05% filtration efficiency improvement over the H13 grade. So although the improvement is incremental, maybe some people will think that higher is still higher, so it must be better, right? This very high-grade air filter is typically used in clean room manufacturing, such as semiconductor manufacturing, or in operation theater, where all the air must pass through the air filter before they enter the room. Because these facilities lead to minimize the particles contamination as much as possible. However, for air purifier in your room, it is a totally different application. It's mainly circulating the warm air while cleaning it, so that when the dirty air enters the air purifier and passes through the air filter, it will remove most of the airborne particles and deliver the clean air back to the room. So higher the clean air delivery rate of an air purifier, the quicker and better it can clean the room air and therefore reduce the concentration of the aerosol. The reason why higher grade air filter has higher filtration efficiency is because the fiber density of the air filter is higher. But you can imagine this will also increase the air resistance. If we replace a H12 grade air filter to H13 grade, the air resistance is increased by about 5%, but we only gain less than 0.5% of filtration efficiency. If we further increase it to H14 grade, we also only gain less than 0.5% of filtration efficiency, but we lose about 15% of airflow rate due to the increase in air resistance. This clearly is not a good trade. So for some manufacturer insist to use high-grade air filter, they need to increase the fan size or fan power, which leads to increase in the air purifier size, louder noise, and most importantly, tricking the user spending more money when buying the replacement air filter. So the user will actually spending more money to buy a high-grade air filter that is not necessary and suboptimal. What's important for air disinfection using air purifier is not to use a very high-grade air filter, but to have an antiviral air filter. If the filter does not have antiviral performance, the virus captured on the filter will survive for a long time. So when replacing the air filter, two things will happen. First, the action of replacing the air filter will shake off some virus captured on it, so the virus will re-enter the air. Also, if your hand contact the filter, it will contaminate your hand with the virus. There are studies showing that the COVID-19 virus can survive on plastic and other surfaces for days. The latest studies show that COVID-19 virus can survive for up to 28 days in conditions without light. One example of condition without light I can think of is that inside air purifier and air ventilation duct. So the COVID-19 viruses are really having a party on non-antiviral air filter. In this photo, the medical staff is about to transport a confirmed case patient of COVID-19 to a hospital. Well, in this photo, the two medical staff is just about to replace the air filter used in an infection control facility. you can see that the level of personal protection equipment is even higher than transporting a confirmed case patient to hospital. Medical professionals know the dangers of replacing an air filter potentially loaded with virus. They actually have to discard it as biohazard medical waste. And they develop specialized procedure and equipment just to replace the air filter, in which we don't know and we don't have this equipment when replacing the air filter inside our air purifier. So please, starting today, use an antiviral air filter inside your air purifier. Just like healthcare workers sanitizing the surfaces inside a hospital ward, let the antiviral air filter sanitizing its surface for you, so that when you replace air filter, you don't have to worry about it. Thank you and stay healthy.